Hello, SpeedGaming viewers, and welcome to another Link to the Past Randomizer Main Tournament 2022 match. We've got a good show for you this afternoon with Teto on the left facing off against Slapshotfred on the right to see who can take down Ganon first. They're playing MC Boss Shuffle, and we'll get into the details of that in a bit once we are rolling. I'm Adalor in the booth. With me today is Thoris. How's it going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Looking forward to doing some race commentary and seeing what happens here. I'm a pretty big fan of this mode in particular. MC Boss, I think, is my favorite of all the five, and I like Boss Shuffle. It can create some very interesting situations. Really challenge the runners depending on what kind of equipment and what bosses are run into. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I've not seen a match run this preset yet, so it's going to be very interesting on my account.
Yeah, we'll get to keep track of like what bosses can be where, because not every boss can be in every room, and we'll figure that out as we go and see if we can later on determine what bosses are left to face. Because we do have it's full shuffle, so we know that we'll see at least one of everything, and there will be two bosses that we have a potential of seeing twice, or three bosses for twice. And we are off. Shut in the house. Nice start. I love it.
I gotta admit, I do not like seeing an early hookshot.
I'm a big fan of it because hookshot just so happens to be my favorite item in the game, so I'm never going to complain about seeing it early.
So my personal experience is if you find a hookshot early, you have to do AGA.
Yeah, maybe. That could be a negative pointer, you're correct.
You usually end up with some weird circumstance where your Dark Road access is in Thieves Town, but you have to go through AGA to get to the East Dark Road and then use hookshot to get across. So it's just personal experience. Did get a brief look there at the Agamemnon item, and it is the red cane.
Ooh, that's gonna be spicy. Well, speaking of Aghanim potential, that is most likely a required item. It's hard to. You'd have to have a very specific prize layout, like with Meyer and TR having pendants, and then also not need to go to right side GT for anything. Yeah, that's probably required. Tito's restarted the house here, got his hook shot. Got a tier 1 pole, it's just a small magic, not particularly crazy useful. You're looking for bombs or rupees, but you know, we'll get there. We got 50 rupees, we can at least buy bombs at the very worst.
Yeah, either go for the 50-50 bushes or buy some rupees.
Oh, we do have 20 rupee drops on our stun prize, so that's not terrible. You can actually, you can do a little bit of rupee grinding if you need to. Yeah, Tato's showing off going for the 50-50 bushes. Yeah, so 2 bushes in this cluster, that one and that one right there, have a 50% chance of dropping a bomb. There's our bug net in the back of Tavern. It's pretty common to see, like, if you walk into Kakariko with no bombs, you just check the back of Tavern, see if that gives you a bomb packet. If not, then you just go to the shop and buy one for 50 rupees. Tito's coming up from the south, of course, having walked to the grove bushes to get those bombs. And looks like he spotted something on Race Game. I missed it, so we'll see what that is in a moment.
It was something red, that was all I called it.
Oh, early boots. Well, like to see that. No one is going to complain about going fast from the very beginning when we are, of course, racing this rando. So whatever's in library, we can just grab that immediately. Bomb pack. You sure, why not? May as well grab it. Takes care of your Kakariko bombs. That's about the only time you'll ever see a bomb pack grabbed off a library. And Cackwell had a whole lot of nothing, just some bombs and money. Got a, it's what I call a savings deposit on the bottle vendor, giving him 100 and get 20 back.
Well, that sounds like a scam to me.
Well, you see, sometimes when you give him 100, he gives you 300, and I call it the savings withdrawal. Find a map to GT in Chicken Hut, which is not a particularly useful map. We're hoping when we see maps to get them for dungeons that actually have prizes, because those give us information. And Blinds has nothing in it too. Where's the stuff? I guess we got Hookshot and Boots, so getting to South Shore, going to Mini Moldorm Cave and whatnot will be very easy to do. It's like we're lacking an item so far. Kakariko didn't really have anything. Let's talk about the mode a little bit. So I did mention we are playing MC Boss Shuffle. What that means is we have our maps and compasses are shuffled. So you've already seen them pick up one map, and I think a compass somewhere too. Compasses are useful in this because of the boss shuffle. We have a feature in Rando where when you have the compass of a dungeon, you can check the map while you're inside the dungeon, and you'll get a little icon on the left that shows the icon for what boss is there. And that can be particularly useful when you look at some bosses that you can't kill with certain equipment, like Argus or Cold Stare or Trinex. Those are the three that you have to need extra stuff to deal with them. And then the maps, of course, will show us where the dungeon prizes are. So if they check their maps right now, they have no information. They don't know what dungeons they need to clear to actually open GT. We'll have to get some info from the maps, as well as the bomb shop guy in the Dark World, and Sahasrara will always tell us where our green pen is.
Yep, they found one of the two useless maps between GT and Hyrule Castle, but they have found Desert Palace Compass, so they'll be able to see what boss is lurking in Desert Palace whenever we get access to it.
Nice 300 rupees in the Bonk Rock chest. That'll be good for if and when we end up going to Zora. Some bush crabs. We see 5 rupees. That's not particularly exciting. Fred's kind of close to Zora money, though, so he will take a moment and get a few more those blue rupee drops, and we'll get his lumberjack check and get that news. I barely saw it from him. I guess he saw enough of it that he knows what's up, but I think if it was me, I'd need to look a little bit more and be like, what the heck is that? The bush crab's just like, nope, you're not going to get me. You're not going to get it that easily. Another 300 rupees outside of the dam. Nice, nice.
Yeah, with those boots as well, if you can do water walking, it's definitely making the Zora a bit more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Water walk if you do water walk correctly, you no longer really need to have to worry about Pearl for getting like a fake flipper into Waterfall Cave. Tito's going to give us a check at Agina's cave. Not bad to get to once you have early boots. You can just do a quick little run over here and a little bit of Sphere 1 cleanup and just a heart. The item pool itself is not modified for this mode, so we'll have the typical amount of hearts and heart pieces, and we get all our swords and armor are available, all that stuff. And these two are both going to head east towards Mini Moldorm Cave. Slapshotfred's going to get there just a few seconds ahead. Hookshot makes this cave very easy to deal with. You don't have to worry about throwing bombs at them. Yeah, if you're running this seed, you're now hoping for like pendants and Mire and TR, just so you don't have to worry about getting that gain. And then, of course, also that the GTBK is not on the right side. Indian Cave also not really having anything of big consequence. That are 300. We've had 3 of our 300 rupees already. There are only 5 of those in the pool, so that's a lot of early cash.
Yeah, and the stun price being 20 rupees, we are going to be loaded this seed.
They're going to be... I'm not surprised either of these are going to run over to a waterfall, both or Ice Rod Cave, both because like we're still looking for our Sphere 1 to kind of pay out some items, and also this is where we can activate or arm our Water Walk. 50 more rupees, all right. So by dashing along the edge of the pit, that will activate or arm the Water Walk state, and then we actually activate it by jumping southward into the water, like Slapshotfred's going to do right here. And given that we are activating the Water Walk here, we will not be going to the man of the bridge. We're going to take this Water Walk straight into Waterfall Cave. Teto will give a peek at the island. That is a big 20. Compass to Swamp Palace. That's another boss we'll be able to view later. Once we get into the dungeon, we can check what boss that's actually there.
Ether sitting on the Zora ledge. Definitely hope you don't need that for either Maya or Todorok.
Yeah, there's no way they can possibly do a splash delete right now. They have to just know it's there. Ooh, well, there's some progression. A glove on Zora.
That's interesting though, because the glove logically locks Zora, or the flippers do. So one of them is sitting somewhere.
Yeah, wait, it does tell us we've got a glove or a flipper sitting somewhere available. I'm guessing we're probably heading for the eastern area in terms of that actual progression Sphere 1. We've got 3 in Saw's Closet, and then 3 chests in Eastern Palace themselves that are also Sphere 1. Yeah, got Back of Escape now available with that glove. If they find anything out of here, it'll be a bit of a logic sequence break, but nothing too far ahead to be so crazy as to have to worry about it. Oh, half magic. That's nice.
And a compass from Misery Mire as well, so yeah, we definitely don't want to go there. Everything's pointing in those directions.
I like that we're getting enough compasses early so we can have those boss checks once we get into the dungeons. Yeah, so Fred's going to head over to the Eastern Palace area. We'll check in with Saha, see what he has to tell us. Tito's going to now head to the Uncle checks. That's a moon pearl in the closet.
And Tito finds our glove.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, and Saha's told us also on Fred's side that we have a green pendant at Thievestown.
We got simultaneous confirmation of Dark World access from both our runners at the same time.
Yep, finding the one piece the other one doesn't have. So yeah, that's yep, both gloves and pearl. That'll get us a Dark World. Not ideal Dark World access, but you can at least run over to a village and get there. So Tito's going to be going through Castle using a combination of hookshot and bombs, which is pretty viable. Fred finds a bomb pack in the cannonball chest in Eastern. So every dungeon, with being an MC shuffle, every dungeon has 2 more checks that are potential good items in them. So our general value of diving dungeons, even when they're not completable, has increased a bit. There's our first bottle in the second chest in Castlefront.
Need to find some time to return to Sick Kid. The fetch quests continue with the shovel in Eastern.
Fred getting through the dark part of Eastern, using the hook shot to good effect to kind of grab onto the pot where you know the key is. It's a nice little tool in the dark room there. Ooh, there's a mirror in King's Tomb on Tito's side.
Yeah, definitely needs to have that before you go into the dark world.
Yeah, mirror improves your early routing a lot once you're getting into your dark world stuff. That's very nice to see.
And I believe that looked like a bombos on Fred's side, so the last check in Eastern still logically locked by the lamp.
Fred's got his second glove now. Logically the first, but you know, it's the second one you've got actually picked up. And Tito's decided it's now time to climb the mountain. Also the logic with the lamp, but there's probably just a lamp hanging out somewhere, or our mountain logical access is actually in the dark world somewhere, which we know is entirely accessible. Just a heart piece on top, spec rock, nothing interesting, worth going inside for there. Might grab that heart piece anyway on top because it's literally right there. You're mirroring on top of it. And we'll get a peek into here.
Phases of health.
Yeah. You don't mind very easy heart pieces to pick up when you're early on. Yeah. Both the keys available in the ground floor of Hera.
Tried to do the Hera pot and clipped into the door.
Yeah, that happens when you get that key. It can be easy to just like throw yourself into the door real fast when you're trying to do the super speed setup. Does a nice little buffer and gets it in there. Not too difficult at all. Gonna actually opt to run up and immediately check what the boss is. That is a cold stare. And says, all right, well, I know what that boss is. Definitely can't deal with that. We're going to just drop down a couple floors here and check an item and say, all right, we're out of here. No, wait, you picked up the big key. Yeah, you have the big key. You should check that big chest. Yeah, I was about to say, Dropping out from the compass chest there. No, you've got one more to look at. And Fred is indeed going to head to the Dark World through the village portal. Chat's been saying he should probably grab that mirror, but he's not gonna stumble upon that just yet. And just 10 arrows in here, a big chest. Okay, nothing exciting there.
Yeah, chat was talking about the interesting deviation between Teto finding the mirror and not finding the moon pearl versus Fred finding the moon pearl and not finding the mirror, when they both help each other so much for written.
Yeah, for Teto, it would be like extremely nice to have the pearl for being on the mountain right now, because you'd have a very nice, like almost a full clear of the mountain at this point. But we'll get there. They'll find their other items sooner or later. And there's a hammer and paradox on Tito's side.
So the mountain play benefiting Teto for finding the hammer, and the dark world play benefiting Fred for finding the fire rod.
Yeah, I like this divergence we're seeing. These they've got some early options that they're have a nice difference in what they're taking, and it's leading to some different items. It's kind of cool to see. It's another bottle and an armor, one of our first armors in Paradox as well.
And we found Quake in the front of Thieves Town, so we found all 3 medallions when we don't want to be going into those dungeons.
Yeah, right. There's a big 20 for the last check in the front of Thieves. Fred will take an intentional death warp and get out of here. It's pretty typical to see pennant thieves. You just check the front 4, especially when you don't have the hammer. You can't full clear the dungeon, and you don't really have a great weaponry to deal with whatever boss is there.
We did also see a map on the Lonely Island on Death Mountain, which Tito's going to have to leave behind.
Yeah, not really a way to acquire that just yet.
If only he had that moon pearl.
2 digs for a bomb pack. Pretty quick.
At least it's not wasting your time.
Yeah, you get out of there really quick and say, okay, well, that's all we got. And Teto got a bow. I missed it. I'm guessing that was in Spiral Cave.
Yeah, the bottom of Spiral Cave.
Not a bad find on the mountain. You've got a couple of good weapons actually for your time being up there. For not having the moon pearl, you do, get some additional options. And Tito's now got his pearl and the Sahasrara information.
Yeah, he was pulling on the wall a little bit. I think he was a little bit frustrated finding the pearl after you go through the mountain. But
Yeah.
you got the bow and the hammer from being up there, I don't imagine it's going to counteract you that much.
No, I mean, at this point you can actually now just clear Eastern Palace, whereas Fred was here earlier and basically did a partial clear of Eastern. So it's the item layout in this one is really quite interesting. It's giving both these runners kind of some optimal plays that the other one was not able to do based on their equipment.
Yeah, we got a quick glance there. It is Argus as the boss of Eastern. So yeah, Hookshot and Hammer definitely make that a much more doable fight.
There we go. Yeah, that hammer making Argus not a problem.
Like, thankfully, we do have quick swap enabled, so not going to be doing menu simulator.
Fred's got his mirror now. Would have been convenient while you were right up when you were picking up the smith. You could have just completed that chain right there. But you know, now we have it. Yeah, we saw Fire Rod in the chess game in Village of Outcast. Yes. No, actually, even without the hammer, with Fire Rod in one bottle, that actually makes for a logical kill of Cold Stare, or not Cold Stare, Argus, because you have enough magic, with magic and bombs basically to deal with all the puffs. The half magic actually qualifies also in place of the bottle. Yeah, silver arrows too. If we had both bows, silvers also work for the puffs.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like a fight I want to do, Argus with bombs and a fire rod.
No, absolutely not. I saw very recently a clip of I think it was GFE doing that. And that fight took about 3 minutes, and it was impressive to see it happen. But it's like, I don't want to have to fight Argus like that. No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
He's got his
weird things.
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen things like Land Molus with bombs. I've seen Argus with boomerang. It's just there are some horrible ways to hurt bosses in this game.
yeah. That goes back to why I really like this mode. You get to some interesting situations of how do you fight bosses you run across in when you're not fully capable of dealing with them, but you have equipment that can do it. Right, Fred checks K45, sees another one of our 300 rupees. And he came up with a shovel as well. And we do have that shovel. We're going to see what that turns into. Just 10 arrows, nothing exciting.
Yeah, the early play into Eastern was just not worth it. You just had to go to trash, like get your moon power, and then leave.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to kind of ignore Eastern, I guess, when you're over here, especially when it has increased value as every dungeon does with MC Shuffle. But yeah, there's definitely something to be said. You could just go to Saha, and if you see a pearl, you're like, oh, that's big value. I don't need to get anything else out of here. Just a heart piece out of the purple chest. And here we have Teto now getting into the menu boss Argus fight, menu swapping back and forth between hammer and hookshot to deal with these buffs. Yeah, Fred's been to Hype Cave, and I think all we saw in there was a compass and just some stuff.
Generally something not worth being hyped about.
Yeah, not particularly. A little bit tricky to fight Argus with the hammer in particular. The hitbox is not great, but Tito's making it work. And there's the fourth hit. And we got a map to Pod. All right.
One
Not
of the
much
other important crystals.
Yeah, we do have a crystal in Eastern. That's a good find, at least. So we know that's a required dungeon. It's always nice when you clear a dungeon you don't know the prize of, and you deal with a difficult boss, and you at least get a crystal for it. You're like, all right, this wasn't wasted time. Fred's now getting into the front of Skull here, finds a key in the middle section. And that'll be good enough to explore the front. Wrote it nicely with one key. Again, they're look at the kind of unexciting hype cave on Tito's side. It's a lot of money in a compass to Ice Palace. That's what it was. Tito's going to show us some information from the bomb shop. Let's see what's here. Pod and Mire are red crystals.
Well, that means that Aga play is gonna need to be done.
Yep, Mire is a dungeon that requires a Samaria. We are going to need to climb that tower at some point. We need a sword. At least one sword, actually, to even get up the tower and cut the curtain. And of course, to get in, we'll need a second sword or the cape with that. So we're actually quite a ways off from even being able to access that cane yet. We do have also a crystal in Skull Woods, as we can see from the indicator in the top left. When you do have a map for the dungeon, when you're inside that dungeon, you get a little HUD indicator that tells you whether the prize is a crystal or a pendant. Well, Fred found a flute in the bridge chest of Skull Woods. That's a great find. Chat's going being a bit critical of the locations he's checking, but it is clearly working out for him.
Yeah, it's a nice place to find flip with Thieves Town and subsequently the mirror being right there. You can just go and activate it.
Yeah, it's really a convenient spot. Teto is now approaching village from the south, picked up the frog, and we'll have a much more expedient time of actually completing the smith chain than Fred did. But now Fred's activating a flute. These two continue to have quite the divergence of having different items at different times. This is it's making it really hard to say like who's got any sort of advantage just yet. We'll wait a while until they've more synchronized their inventories, and then we can start making comparisons to how they're doing.
Yeah, this flute might push Fred up the Death Mountain path, though, which would result in him getting the hammer, getting the pole, and with us being probably able to see what's happening on Dark Death Mountain as well.
Yeah, here he goes. Despite having boots, Teto does have to do the slow method of opening hammer pegs because you cannot item dash through the pegs without having a sword. Probably the worst part of Swordless, actually, the fact that you can't dash through things. A big heart in hammer pegs, and Teto says, "Nah, we're okay. I've got 7 blue. I'm comfy already." Fred kind of saying, "Do I do Hera now or later?" And kind of second guesses and saying, "I'll do it now."
Yep, does have that all-important fire source for the basement, so it's not a case of not being able to clear it.
Yeah, he does have the option of doing the basement check. Does not really have a way of dealing with Cold Stare just yet, though. He would have to have gotten over to Paradox and gotten the hammer. He did the same thing as Teto, trying to set up the super speed and the door. And he says, "All right, well, I guess I went through the door. Let's just do this now." If he breaks it up, he's on the outside there, so he'll have to hit that. He's not going to be able to get inside the cage if they're done, but he is still protected from the tiles, so he gets a bit of a break. And Teto is now working on the front of thieves. We'll have to see if he continues into the back. I imagine he might, considering he does have the hammer.
Yeah, I'm seeing a hammer being the trigger for going into the back of Thieves Town, because no one wants to leave that big chest behind.
Yeah, and hammer does also serve as a decent weapon, so you can actually deal with most of the bosses in the game now. Oh wow, Hera Basement has a sword? This seat is wild.
That's a horrible place for a sword.
It actually, there's so many things already in places where it's just like really easy to miss them for a bit. That just continues the trend in this seed so far. I love it. It's just making that divergence like really, really, really good. All right, does Teto do the immediate boss check? Yeah, we've got another cold stare. All right then. I mean, you can deal with this. You've got a hammer and one sword and a fire rod. Yeah, unless you get hit immediately, you know.
Oh yeah, the boss still hurts even with blue mail.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's 3 hearts of contact damage with blue mail, and Teto says, "No, we're good. I'll come back later."
Fred, however, with that sword, can now probably deal with Cold Steel.
Yeah, it doesn't have the hammer, but he does have the sword, so he can kind of grind this fight out. And you know, actually being able to open with Bombos and use the fire rod with a lot more magic is really convenient here, actually. Yeah, that'll be just fine.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
just a pendant.
map of Thieves Town for your trouble. We already know that prize, and yeah, just a pendant. So, I mean, you don't hate pendants so much because that's knowledge. I mean, it sucks to have cleared a dungeon and not gotten a crystal for it, but we're only one pendant away from now knowing all our crystals, so we're getting close.
I think, does Fred know about the 5-6 crystals being Maya and Pod?
I don't think he checked Bomb's shop. I think only Teto did that. Actually, yeah, that was yeah, both cold stares are pendants. Good point, chat. Fred's out of bombs. Would like to buy bombs from the shop in Paradox Cave, but that requires bombs to get into. Not exactly helpful. So Fred's gonna have to improvise here, climb Super Bunny, see if he get lucky and get a bomb pack out of the 6 checks available on Dark Death Mountain, and then maybe you can actually return to the Paradox and take care of the checks there.
Yeah, but one of those two being the hammer, like the worst thing you can do right now is abandon those checks and just say, nope, I didn't have bombs at the time.
Yeah, that would be really inconvenient. Ice Rod and Super Bunny.
Or we can now deal with any Trinex that decide to rear their ugly heads.
Yep, that is not a bad find. You know you can now deal with one more boss that could pop up. We'll get a peek at our medallion. That looked like a quake.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I had to catch all the restream and it's like, yep, that was a quick.
Alright, Hookshot Cave is up next for Fred. And meanwhile, Teto has made the trip over to Pod. I'm going to dig into this dungeon. We know it's a red crystal, so it is a dungeon we want to eventually clear. And 2, having a bow and a hammer makes that a thing we can do. Finds powder in the first check there in the shooter room. Not bad. Fred did come up with a couple bomb packs there, so we got saved by the chests. We'll be able to complete the checks on the mountain here.
Let's choose to abandon that map on Long Island, so we'll never find out where that was connected to.
Yeah, I'm kind of not surprised. That is the floating island check takes a little bit of time to get to, and given that you're only one pendant away from having full dungeon knowledge, you have to think like, yeah, I can probably skip that map. Yep, there's his bow in Spiral Cave, and he'll be getting his hammer from Paradox in just a moment here. So far has collected 3 keys in the front checks of pod. There's a chance that we could have a 5-key pod front here, maybe. We'll see. He was going to go right for a big key chest instead of trying to maybe rule it out. And Fred spots that crystal at Eastern. We know it's there. He didn't until just now.
Yeah, I think as well finding that bow definitely pushing him towards the pod in Eastern play.
Yep, he's definitely headed over here. Not a bad option considering I don't know if he knows that pod's a crystal, but we know it's a good option for him at the very least because he's got the ability to clear both dungeons, assuming that pod is a boss we can deal with, and you want those crystals.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we're missing is our lamp, but most of our runners will 9 times out of 10 avoid the lamp at all costs and just play as if they have it. Because we all know what the dark rooms look like.
Our map check from Fred showing us that already information we know in terms of our dark world, so nothing new there. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Fred actually, yeah, as of the ice rod, yeah, is everything we need to deal with bosses. Not necessarily comfortable. You'd like more swords, but you can handle them. I'd hate to run into Trinex with this equipment, basically. Like 6 hearts, only a hammer for decent damage. It's, not very comfy. Teto is now getting into the dark maze. We'll be able to use bombs and arrows and whatnot to poke around in here and find your way through it. Hopefully not get too bullied by the Kodondos in the process. That's another heart. Pot has given us a bunch of health. He's on the bottom now. Yep, there's the chest. Of course, big key in the dark maze, as you do. And big chest is just a big 20. That leaves just the boss now. Yeah, just a quick recap for chat, in case you missed it or didn't know. There's indeed a Samaria on Lumberjack. So to even access that, we're going to need 2 swords or 1 sword and a cape, and then logically the lamp. You kind of want the lamp for Agatar because that dark maze is pretty bad to navigate if you're not super familiar with it.
Yeah, it's
And
the
then
one
the
that coughs up the least, so you're gonna have the least amount of experience dealing with it.
yeah, and also the floor above that too, with the pits or on the catwalks, like that floor can be really tricky as well in the dark. But I guess in a pinch, if you know you need to do that for progression, you still haven't found your lamp, you can pull up a dark room map and do your best to get through it. Go for the chest, finds that key, and then the heart over here. Yeah, pod had like 3 or 4 hearts in it. That's a bunch. We're really not complaining at this point, getting a lot more healthy. And fire rod for the base in a pod makes it a lot easier to take care of.
Yeah, I think just learning where that torch is and how easy it is to get a fire rod shot on it is probably one of the best things you can learn for pod.
And we have a Mothula in the back of pod, or the boss of pod. Never a boss we're going to complain about seeing. Moth is a very easy boss in pretty much every room except its own. And we get another bottle for our troubles, preloaded with blue.
Yeah, it's definitely the conveyor belts, I think, make that room so much harder than it needs to be.
Oh yeah, Moth's room will make most bosses more difficult. Some bosses in Moth's room, unfortunately, do not know how to handle the conveyor. Moldworm in particular just kind of gets stuck in the corner, and it's a bit sad to see. Had a question in chat about our tracker. I was put the command didn't quite work, but we do have Nervendolch as our tracker for today. Thank you to them for keeping things accurate on the screen for us. We can never give enough appreciation to our trackers. It is it's a tricky job sometimes. You have to, especially in seeds like this, where these two have been doing a lot of different things, pretty much through the whole seed.
Yeah, and sometimes the tracker itself just doesn't want to play. You can click a button and then it just won't update for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's it's a tough part of it. Yeah, because then you realize minutes later, you're like, wait, I clicked that a while ago, and chat's calling you out, and you're like, but this guy has his mitts, and you're like, I swear I clicked it. I'm sorry. But as a team with the comms and the tracker and the chat, we can usually keep things pretty accurate altogether. Right, Fred's in the pod basement now, and showing off fire rod makes this really not too bad. This room kind of sucks in the dark if all you have is a hammer. It's not great. He will take down his Mothula in short order here. This is still a room with spikes. You can actually... Moth can still go to the top of the screen and hang out on the spikes and be a jerk, but not as much as in Skull itself. And Teto is now going to head back over to Hera and finish off the cold stare that lurks at the top. And potentially do the actual coffee break check and maybe get his first sword at about 48 minutes or so.
I mean, swordless is an option that appears sometimes.
It can. You can definitely do most of this game swordless. And if you're playing the swordless priest mode, actually, you can do all of the game swordless. But you can get by for most of it without really needing one. Just when you want to use a medallion and stuff like that, you kind of actually need a blade. Doing a little bit of buffering to try to get the most out of his hammer hits and fire rod shots. He's got enough damage on them. He should be able to finish him off with the hammer at this point. Just a bit tricky because the hammer does not have a great hitbox.
Yeah, you have to get up close and personal, and you don't want to do that with the buffs because, yep, they still hurt.
You really don't, yeah. He takes it down, gets his map to a dungeon we already know the prize for, and his pendant.
I think the worst thing about it is, though, the tool to activate Bombos is in the basement, and you just have to go there first.
Yeah. It's really just like, here's your sword you could have used. Made that fight a little bit easier.
Yeah, thankfully they decided not to leave it behind.
Yeah, we know this is a good decision on his part to actually pick up this sword, because you're gonna want at least a couple of those to finish the game at least. Fred now getting into the Argus fight in the back of Eastern. Does have that one sword, so you can do double pull spin slashes and take down these puffs with not too much trouble. It's definitely faster than Hammer by about half a minute, if done optimally. Sometimes optimal is hard with Argus, though, the way it moves around. Ooh, almost got the one cycle there. Got 3 hits in, and there's the 4th fire rod shot to take it down. And Tito's got his sword now. Yay! And that will put them even on their crystal counts, 2-2. Teto is interested in Spike Cave. Does not have an invulnerability item, so he's going to be relying on this the potion there to get him through. So this is technically out of logic, I think. That is just a red boomerang, so whatever's there, we don't have to worry about it.
I mean, it was a free potion. We did get it from Mothula.
Yeah. And doing especially when you're on the mountain right there and you've got the capability to do Spike Cave, even though it's not technically in logic without invulnerability, I mean, you think like, well, I can still do this right here. Maybe I find something cool. It has happened. And Fred is now headed for Ice Palace. I guess, it's an interesting decision.
It's one of the 3 dungeons we don't have information on.
Yeah. Yeah, ice is a decision, because right now you know you don't have the Samaria for it, and you're missing the capability of even getting to that so far. I feel like I'd be holding off on ice until I do have the game, because of how much it improves the trip to this dungeon. But who knows? Maybe Fred is continuing to make the right decisions, and we'll be shown in a bit that we're gonna find like a second sword and a lamp in here. Who knows? Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything really of the desert mire area besides like Agina and checking the desert ledge so far. Teto is now going to go into the, looks like the back of Skull Woods here. I don't know that we've seen what boss is here either.
No, we only saw the items, which we know Teto will come across as flute.
I guess actually this is Tito's first trip, at least into the middle part, yeah. Not having the fire rod. Yeah, I think, no, he hasn't been over here that much yet. I think he did Village, but not at least the back of Skull. It's hard. These two have been so divergent this whole scene. I'm just like, I'm not sure which one has done what at this point. bomb pack in the freezer room. Don't have the big key yet, so we're going to have to get over to the right side and find it. Lacking a small key, Fred says, I'll just go down here and climb up through the pot room, get the key there, go up through iced tea, and just kind of continue the right side that way. Tito's got his flute now from the Skullwoods Bridge chest, and he'll be able to go into the back and actually take a peek at what we have for the boss. And we do know it is a crystal dungeon, so we're going to want to get that prize.
It did pick up the ice rod on Dark Earth Mountain, so definitely capable of dealing with every boss.
Yep, speaking of Moldorm and Moth's room, here we are. You see how badly this boss just cannot handle the conveyor. It just really doesn't get to move. It can just get stuck on the spikes, and it's just to put him out of his misery. We get a shield and a crystal. Well, Moldorm and Skullwoods is a nice, easy fight, though it does reduce our potential of finding Moldorms elsewhere in potentially worse rooms like the basement of GT. There's our lamp and ice palace. What is this logic indeed?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Where's our flippers?
Yeah, no kidding, because that lamp is indeed flipper locked. And that's not even like Aga Tower access. You still need a cape or a second sword to even be able to go get your cane. I'm just waiting for this done. I'm just waiting for the sea to now like require them to also go into Mire to even be able to get up the Aga Tower. Just to say, hey, have another double dip. And we got our second moth in the bottom of Ice Palace.
That's two of our doublers down.
And a big 20 and a crystal. Continues to show us kind of hold out on the I'm trying to say the dungeon information. We're still lacking one more pendant to have our full knowledge. We don't have a lot of options left at this point. We could be I guess actually no, we still have 4 possibilities. Yeah, desert, swamp, or TR. No, just 3 possibilities, sorry, but still. And Tito will give us a look. I don't think we've seen Magic Bat from Fred yet. So this, I believe, is new information. Fred, you're missing something.
Does Fred know something we don't?
He has realized that he is up here without an item. He needs to be able to break the barrier or bypass it. Now we're headed to 6.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Mire earlier. With Titansmith's early, Flute, Mirror. It's like, yeah, you can do everything over here.
That looked like an ether. Oh, that's the ether medallion on Zora Ledge. Where the heck are the flippers? There's the flippers. We got them.
We found them. Crisis averted.
He's gonna go to Mire Shed. It's just a good idea all along. All right, so that throws the whole seed back into logic. We've now got our lamp available, and we can continue. Now, oh, there's our cape. Turns out, just go to 6. Get your things.
Now you need to go to Aga to get your red cane before you can even go to Mire.
Yeah, but now you definitely do that so that you can actually just one visit Mire and clear out the dungeon. Yeah. Yeah, this is chat's saying it. We could end up in a sword go mode here. Yeah, actually. Yeah, because we're gonna have Samaria, and then we know where Ether is, which is now available for the flippers. Yeah, we're gonna be in sword go mode. And Tito's meanwhile working on the Desert Palace. Has found both of the keys, and we'll head over to the right side and see what's over here to find. Yeah, unless Teto comes up with a sword before actually making the getting the cape and making the agate climb. Another heart in the big key chest and desert that puts Teto up to 12. That's quite a bit of heart difference there. There's 3 between them.
Yeah, definitely nice and comfy with that blue mail now.
Yeah, 12 blue is really comfortable. I'm pretty sure Teto actually has run in spoiler where you don't have even close to that much survivability. So this is just kind of like you're just breezing through the game at this point. Right, we got Teto getting to the back of desert here, almost at the boss, and Slapshotfred is now into the floor with a bunch of red spear guards. And Agate Tower will be up to the top floor in just a moment. Who's our boss of desert? It's a blind. Teto will hoist up another crystal from desert. That's a dungeon we didn't know the prize of, so that's you love to see it, having another blind clear and getting a crystal for your efforts. At this point, our last pendant is in either Swamp or TR, and we have yet to get a map for either of those dungeons.
Now, out of both those dungeons, which one would you prefer to be the pendant?
At this point, God, it's hard. If I'm still looking for items, I prefer it to be Swamp. That is the crystal. But if I'm in a go mode situation, I think I just like TR more because you have a nice linear dungeon and you're going to be on the mountain for your last dungeon. It just works out well. But if we're looking for a sword, I want Swamp to be the crystal because I believe in the power of Sword Palace. How's this Aghanim going? I think we've had decent RNG so far. I haven't really been keeping close track of it. Oh yeah, he's done already. That was what? First into the third cycle? Yeah, pretty easy, Aga. And now we get to remember to mirror to the light world before we save and quit. Place your bets on how many times each of them forgets to do that, because it's a very easy thing to forget.
Yeah, it's a very frustrating thing in rando. It's like, yep, 9 times out of 10, you do not kill Aga, so you don't ever have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's such a thing. You don't have it in muscle memory usually. Oh, Tito's actually climbing up the lamp. I mean, good point. He is in the ice palace, but yeah, we'll get to see how he does with the dark Agatar. He's got fire rod for this floor. That's true. So fire rod does make it a little better. You the main parts of the dark floor, you can get to the dark maze, and also in the next floor, the catwalk room. If you know where the torches are, it's not too bad. But sometimes actually getting a fire rod shot to hit the torches can be tricky because they're in weird spots. Like I think there's one in the lower left corner, and then like yeah, right there. If you walk up the right catwalk, there's one. Yeah, I feel like he's practiced this because he looks like he's handling it really well. Fire Rod showing off how good of a weapon it is on enemies like these, where you can just one shot so many enemies on this climb, especially like the red spear guards, which have so much health. You get a nice full magic drop, able to continue burning through these guys.
I mean, they give you magic, you may as well use it.
Yeah, exactly. If they're gonna refill you, go for it. There's this Moldorm again, just kind of wigging out like he doesn't know how to handle this conveyor. Red's taking down that boss, got another crystal. And he will probably be on his way over to grab that Samaria here next. Tito's just a little bit behind him, now getting into his Aga 1 fight. Give a little bonk to the tree and drop on in, and we will have a cane for our lumberjack prize. As much as there's been a lot of divergence in the sea, these two have pretty well converged. They're going to be having their canes not too much apart in terms of time. And then I guess Fred does have still Ice Palace to do, but yeah, we'll be able to. We're getting closer here. Oh, he's actually going to head up and. What are you doing? Oh, right, the Ether Medallion. We do want that too. That's true. He already did ice. Okay. He did ice. Teto didn't do ice. Fred did ice. He's got to get the Ether Medallion, then go to Meyer. Got it. Right. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, Teto decided to do desert, and Fred did ice. And
yeah.
So they're still even on the crystal counts, they're just got different dungeons required.
Yeah, the divergence. This is a pretty great seed for a race, though, with being so many different ways to go through it, having a constant opportunity for divergence. You can, it's really neat to watch from a kind of a viewer perspective. It leaves you guessing as to who's really got like a significant advantage, if any, until we get a lot later in where you can start really comparing them. Ah, Teto is doing catfish. We haven't seen this yet. This very out of the way check. Just a compass, and he is uninterested in that information. He said, I can kill every boss, I do not care.
Definitely nice being able to root this in, though, with the Ether Medallion pickup. With those swords being anywhere, is like ideally you can knock off as many checks as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, chat's talking about, yeah, definitely whoever goes to 6 first in this seed is just ahead pretty much, because you get your big progressions chain starter right there. Like, that's just how you're supposed to continue the seed. They both pretty much did it at the same time though, so it's like, not, you can't really say one of them kind of gained a bunch of time over the other from that. And yeah, there could end up being like a gamble on which dungeon to clear when it comes down to TR or Swamp. All right, Tito's up here at the tree, gonna get his Canada Samaria. You probably see him head down to the mire area, potentially go for ice as well, because Samaria does speed up that dungeon clear. And from his perspective, you know, you have 3 dungeons left that are unknown, and 2 of them are crystals. So you can just kind of pick one and go for it and see if you get lucky on your prize. Yeah, he's going to go for 6. Fred's in the back of desert now, pretty much clearing this dungeon as quick as he can, and we'll have them both getting into mire at relatively similar times. I guess right now I could say it looks like Fred has a bit of a lead, considering he just has to finish off Desert, and Teto does have all of Ice Palace to do still. But it is not like a huge lead by any means, and there is still some potential for this seed to flip in either direction. Because we gotta find some swords still. And we do not know what the prizes of Swamp and TR are yet.
Yeah, chat's talking about the possibility of finding a map for either Swamp or Turtle Rock inside Mire, because that would ultimately play into your favor.
Yeah, it really would. Getting a map for either of those dungeons would just be really good information right now.
So I think at that point, you just burn through your dungeons, you go to GT, and you hope there's a sword at GT, because there's that many checks up there.
Yeah, exactly. Play this game enough times, you'll definitely feel like this is a familiar situation where you're one sword going into Ganon's tower, and you're thinking, well, there are a ton of checks up here I can get, and there's just a good likelihood that my second sword at least is up here.
Yeah, but the way logic works within Link to the Past as well, it's like, it's definitely possible for those swords to all be in GT.
Yep, you can get, in terms of getting to Ganon's tower, you only really need one. One sword is good enough to activate medallions and cut the vines in the back of Skull Woods and the curtain at the top of AT. Like, one's good enough. You only really need 2 at the point where you have to actually hit Ganon with it, or if you don't find Cape, then you need 2 to hit the barrier to get up Aga Tower. There's the big key from Mire in the lobby chest. Teto was just barely not able to get ahead of the Fire Snake there. He's going to opt to go left and go to the back of the dungeon, it looks like. Teto still doesn't have his lamp from Ice Palace, so he's going to be doing this in the dark, but when you're practiced at it, Dark Mire isn't too bad. There are a couple of relatively consistent setups for the basement here, for the specifically the first room.
Yeah, finding that switch is definitely the hardest part, and once you have a setup for it that works, then you just stick with it.
some Mario blocks showing off these. It's a pretty good tool for seeing where you are in the dark. Chat's talking about bosses. Yeah, like despite the fact that we can kill all the bosses, you kind of still don't want to run into a Trinex because Hammer Trinex is it's doable. It's just not ideal by any means. Here are second mold arms in the back of Misery Mire. So that is all 3 of our repeat bosses. Actually, the rest of them are bosses we'll only see 1 of.
Remember, not seen Argus, Landmolus, not seen Helmasaur yet, not seen Trinex, not seen Vidi.
We did have an Argus in Eastern, but yeah, we're missing Helma, Vitreous, Trinex.
Sorry, Armos, not Armos.
Armos, yeah, you're right. And Landmo also. Those are the 5 bosses we haven't seen. So good news, only 1 Trinex. Bad news, there is currently by the numbers about a 46% chance that Trinex is on ice, and if we have to go to the basement of GT, that can be a problem.
That is the moment that all our runners prepare for. Trinex on ice.
Yep. It is probably the biggest terror of this mode, is having Trinex on ice. We've seen it at least once already on restreams. We had a very long slog of a seed, sort of similar to this one, in which swords were hard to come by, and we had both runners facing a Master Sword Trinex on ice, and it was not fun at all. We could, by all rights, see that happen again today, but let's just hope they don't have to go to the basement of GT and come across a Trinex there. Or the bottom floor of the basement of GT, I mean. Tito's getting into Ice Palace now. Going to be able to do the Icebreaker route, having the cane. And Fred's in the basement of Mire, we'll have an easier time, of course, by way of having the lamp, so he doesn't have to worry about darkroom navigation. It's definitely unusual to have be this late in an MC seed and not have all your dungeon info, because usually between the maps you do find and your NPC information, you can figure out your dungeon prizes and just not have to worry about maps anymore. But we're still lacking knowledge of Swamp and TR. And like we've been saying, that could be a big decision point after they're done with their respective dungeons here and up to 6 crystals. Like, what do they do next?
Yeah, they haven't found any information to help them make that decision, so yep, 50-50. Do you do Swamp or do you do Turtle Rock? Do you go back for that map on Lonely Island and see if that actually has your information for you?
Oh, geez, that map, yeah. I haven't even really kept proper track of like what maps we found. So I don't even know if it's like if that's just going to be a map to a dungeon we already know. All right, Fred is out of Mire. He's got 6 crystals. Let's see where he goes next. We are floating to 4. Looks like this is Swamp. I feel like when you don't know, Swamp is probably the more reasonable play. You're not committing to going up the mountain when you don't know that TR isn't dependent, and you might end up having to do another mountain climb after doing TR for a pendant. And Swamp, I feel like, has a overall more dense dungeon. It's going to be quicker in general to get items out of it than TR. And I believe Teto agrees, also going to swamp. So we're finally kind of converging at this point, and we're seeing that Fred has just a little bit of a time advantage.
It's like now that we have our Meyer crystal, though, we do have pyramid checks. So would you rather do those 2 checks first before dipping into swamp?
Maybe. I mean, I feel like usually I'd probably do that after swamp, just based on the fact that swamp might be the dungeon I have to clear for crystal, and there's a good chunk of items in here. But no, I think that's a decision you can make on the fly, and either way is not necessarily a bad decision. That's another good question. Do you go mode Swamp Palace? I think you can justify doing like a semi-go mode. You check everything but left side here, because that at least gets you your prize information quicker. I had a mushroom in the first check there, in the will be the map chest in Swamp. So maybe there's a sword over there. Who knows?
I would say fetch quests unite, but we don't have the book yet.
No, you have to see the book either. For as much as these two have done in the seed, there's still a few inventory items yet to pop up, like the second bow, Burna, the book. We're just some stuff we don't have. 3 swords. Where the heck are the swords? Yeah, for all the divergence we had, these two have turned out to be pretty close in time getting into swamp. There's the 100 rupee in the compass chest, the only one of those in the pool. And yeah, Fred's going to say, I'm going straight to the back. I think, again, it's pretty reasonable here. You're literally just go -1, and you have the ability to get into GT, and just assume you get a sword there. This is pretty reasonable. Second shield, and there's the big key in the flooded room. Teto is taking the same play, going right to the back. There's a sword and waterfall. That's go mode. At 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 27 seconds, Slapshotfred has officially entered go mode, and Teto will be right behind him in just a bit. Sword Palace comes up again for us. Even if this is a pendant here, we know where our last crystal is, so we can go get it. And here's our Lambo.
And there's a third sword just to make up for
it. There's 2 swords in Sword Palace. Imagine that. Oh, this game is so silly. And that's a pendant, so we do indeed have to go through TR. We are not yet going to GT, but we're going up the mountain, so GT is not far off.
I mean, at least Tempered's going to be TR a lot easier.
Oh yeah. When you come up with a third sword there, you feel just like, oh, all right, this is so much better. Tempered is a huge upgrade over Master Sword. You no longer have to worry about a Master Sword Silverless Ganon, and yeah, Tempered is a big help in these last 2 dungeons. So yeah, this is they're close enough here, and TR is a very linear dungeon. There's not really much for time to be gained or lost in Turtle Rock itself. This very well could come down to Ganon's tower routing, depending on which decisions they make in the basement and where the key ends up being.
Yeah, are we on team left or team right? I suppose it all depends on where that small key is, though.
Yeah, this is a hard 100% go mode for TR. You assuming you don't have to check lava for big key here, you do the usual. You grab the pokey key and run. I don't know if we talked about it here. Just I guess a quick little quip. Talk about the group here. Group X currently only has a couple of games played. Lin has taken wins over both of these two. So they are 0-0 in their head-to-head matchup. So one of these two will be coming away with a win, and will be 1-1 in the group, and be just a little bit closer to second place or getting out of the group.
It's hard to believe that we're all the way down at X and Y and Z for groups, because there's that many people in the tournament.
Yeah. There's a small and a big key in the roller room, and there's a small key in the compass room. So we are 2 small keys already. That bodes pretty well. Yeah, 32 groups in total for a total of 128 players spread amongst them. It's the same for main tournament and the Challenge Cup. They both hit that nice 128 number. Of course, they're both capped at that number effectively, so it works out for a good group phase and a nice bracket of 64, and then we'll eventually battle it down to see who wins over the coming months. And Chomp has a map of Desert Palace. Thanks. That's very late, useless information. I think Chad asking at one point what was the chances of a vanilla Trinex here. We're about a 1 in 3, according to the simulated numbers. Yeah, about a 33% chance of there just being an actual vanilla Trinex here. And we have already seen our double bosses, just to recap. We had 2 Moths, 2 Moldorms, and 2 Cold Stairs. And if they do get a vanilla Trinex here, honestly, that's good news, because you know for sure that you're not going to find one in the basement of GT. It's just, it really kind of, you can breathe a sigh of relief that you cannot run into an ice Trinex.
Always do an Ice Vitty instead.
Yeah, Ice Vitreous, that's a thing that could happen. Also not a great fight, but you know, it's more preferable than Trinex, at least. Fred decided to take the safeguard against the 3% and get the big chest, and now they are dead even, and he gets a map for his trouble, so welcome to now a perfectly synchronized race. And that was the map of Swamp of all things. There you go.
I think that was the cheek. They were just being, oh yeah, there's a map of Swamp.
Yep. And there's the key we need in Crystal Roller. We can now completely ignore Laser Bridge and go right to the boss. Yeah, I think we had a chat's bringing it up. I think there was a 3% in one of the qualifiers for Eternal Rock, where you do the usual route, you grab the Poke Key and skip it, and skip the lava chest, and then there's a 3% chance of thereabouts that the other 2 small keys are in lava chests and big chests, and you get burned for skipping it. But like everyone makes that play. It's such a safe gamble.
Yeah, the sad thing is I was either commentating that match or I was tracking it. I was definitely involved in that match somehow.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you got to see it happen live.
It's like when my luck is that bad, it starts to affect other people. That's when I get worried.
All right, we got Armos and the boss of TR. Our chances of having an ice Trinex have increased once again. We are now looking at about a 71% chance of an Ice Trinex. So we're really hoping at this point we don't have a vanilla big key room in GT. But it's time. We're going to head over to GT very quickly here and get to finding that big key. I know chat likes to put numbers. Let's put some numbers. If you think you want to take a guess at where it's going to be, I'm going to go with my usual guess of 18.
I mean, I usually like to pick a number no one else has picked, but there's so many numbers in chat, I can't read them all.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I'm going to go with number 11.
They're flying already. I just kind of pick a number. It's probably already been grabbed, but yeah, we can double up on some guesses. It's fine. And Fred is just a few seconds ahead, actually entering GT first, so we will be keeping an eye on his screen in terms of officially counting checks. All right, Eve heads right first. Let's see if maybe Teto goes left and we get some instant divergence. We do. All right, here we go. 1 and 2. We get a small key and a green rupee.
It's like, yeah, you go right on a small key.
Yep, I like the typical kind of what I call hope option. You go hope room if you get a small key, you go right. If not, head left. Three through 6 here in the compass room. Big 20, 10 arrows, and oh, there's our second bow. All right, that actually, I mean, assuming it's not in tile, I think Tito's now going to miss that bow.
I mean, do you do right side if you find the big key?
I mean, no. I mean, it would have to be in tile room at this point. Otherwise, Tito's going to be there's going to be a bow difference going up. We'll have to. That could be a difference potentially if these two end up really close still. But at this rate, Teto probably finds the big key first. Eight through 11 here in the Stalfos room.
Yeah, we're already seeing this from Tito's side that there's nothing of value.
Yeah, we can actually kind of just like we can technically kind of skip ahead and look at Tito's screen and just keep counting from there. But yeah, it's not like Fred's going to do anything crazy and go back to and do anything else out of order here. Oh, interesting. He's dodging ice. Okay.
Yeah, the one chest above ice, and yeah, then you have to do an ice boss, and you don't want to do that.
So Teto is going to get his bow. I did not anticipate this. He's going to go hard right after this. Interesting call. So we are now back to watching Fred here because he will be continuing on after Rando Room to go towards Bob's chest in the ice boss room. Our next potential number will actually be 18 in Bob's chest. Yeah, like if you're doing the same thing I'm doing and watching the percentages, thanks to the sheet that one of our stats nerds has made, you see that 71% for Ice Trinex, and then thinking, hey, let's do everything except that maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely the advantage of having the randomizer on full for the bosses, because you know which bosses you haven't encountered.
Yeah.
And we know Helmasaur's missing, we know Viddy's missing, and we know Trinex is missing.
Yep, this is full shuffle, so we're guaranteed at least one of everything, and then there are the two bosses that appear twice are also randomized. And even if you're not looking at the percentages, like the stats of it, you still know that you haven't seen these three bosses as long as you're keeping track. So that, and you know that Ice Trinex just has a likelihood, so it's a scary thing. Look how close these two are again. So Fred and Teto are just in the same room, literally seconds apart now. Single arrow. All right, moment of truth. Oh no, here we go. Fred's intentionally trying to grab fairies to give himself some extra survivability for this boss he knows is probably here, and he was right. All right, buckle up. We are in for a fight here. These two do have half magic and tempered swords. This shouldn't be too bad. Blue mail, 13 or 11 hearts, and the cape. The cape in particular is going to be really critical in phase 2. They may end up using like all their magic for it, but if it means getting through this fight without dying, it is absolutely worth it.
Yeah, it is nice when you can get pressed up against the wall like that.
All right, Tito's into phase. Yeah, you don't worry about the knockback so much. Yeah, Tito's into phase 2. Fred's having a real time trying to get this ice head down. There you go. And Tito's through it. Really nicely done. Showing again, yeah, the cape is a very crucial, very useful tool for this fight. Forgot the one spin. You need to get your cape out. Please, cape. Please, cape. Please. Oh no. Did he get a fairy? Did he catch a fairy? I think he did. No, he didn't catch a fairy. Oh no.
And Teto also confirming that big key is in the first chest in the basement.
All right, that's going to be... That is now a huge lead going to Teto. Just... That's Ice Trinex. That'll do it. Uh-oh, Teto has... Oh, actually, no. Look at Tito's key counter. This is a problem. If there's not a... If there's... So there's... In this case, there's usually a key in tile room, but if... he might get bailed out by a key on the climb, but there... this could be a problem for him.
Yep, we need 2 keys in the uppers of Ganon's tower. One of them is guaranteed to be dropped by the mini Moldorm. And the mini Helmsword. But yeah, the second key is usually in a chest. But if we randomize that, it could be anywhere.
I was not immediately watching where the small keys ended up being in GT here, so it's possible that there's a greater likelihood that there's one on the climb. I am not aware of it. I will defer to our people who know the key logic better than I do to say how much that is likely.
Yeah, Fred showing us there is in fact a key in the tower room.
Yeah, I mean, at that point when you die to Ice Trinex, you go for tile. I don't blame you for doing it because you want to have a chance at not having to do that fight again. Yeah. This is rough though. I feel like I don't know if he can try this again without having a magic refill. It makes your magic usage really tight, especially when you're gonna really want to have your cape for phase 2.
Yeah, Fred is going to be in a worse state to start this fight because he doesn't have that blue potion anymore.
Yeah. We've got a Vitreous in the Landmo 2 room. And that is going to mean we have our final boss at the top will be our Helmasaur. Because of course there's a helm at the top of GT. What else would be there?
That's just as well we found those silver arrows make short work of them.
Yeah, despite not actually clearing the boss of Thieves Town, we did see it as being a cold stare, so we ended up actually seeing every boss in this here seed. Alright, Tito's now into Torches 1. We are not far away from having our information on whether he gets bailed out by a key on the climb. Alright, we got 3 chests up here you can access without having 2 keys. We got 1 is a big 20. 2 is a heart. Alright, got that 1 key. Last chance here. We need Pre-Moldorm to be a key or Teto is going to have to get kicked down to the basement again to go find their small key. And the bailout. There it is in Pre-Moldorm. Whew. Never punished. And these two have definitely made like some decision in this race and just been like, oh, get away with it every time. Like several of Fred's like choices on what to do, and just like Tito's climbing the tower with no small keys. And like, nah, we're fine.
Fred taking a death there, but thankfully picked up some fairies.
Oh, Fred. Oh, please, please cape, please cape. Oh no, I don't know if he has 2 fairies. He does have 2. Okay, we're probably fine here. I knew of the 1. I didn't see the second one. All right, he's through it. Whew, all right. So he is still the climb of the GT ahead, but at least we don't have to have him take a 3rd attempt at the Ice Trinex fight. I believe that was 20 then, because he did tile room. So number 20 is the winner. And Teto is done with the Agate 2, having really no problem with it whatsoever. Had some nice patterns. And we're going to drop into the Ganon fight and get to killing the pig. This will be a very nice fight, having Tempered Sword and Silvers, which is really not what we expected coming into GT. We figured we'd be looking at like a Tempered Silverless, and Fred came up with a bow and thinking, okay, they'll have a bow difference. And then Teto went back to the right, so he's got his bow. So this is a really comfy Ganon fight. Ooh, got the early catch there. Got to mess up your 1-1. But Ken is in the corner for phase 2, so this will be free. Fred, make sure to pick up the magic refill out of the fairy room here on the climb at the beginning of it. Teto is already now into phase 3. Red's hanging onto a sword beam, showing they're actually pretty good for the first 2 rooms of Gauntlet. You can take down the Stalfos with little trouble with them. And now phase 4 on Tito's side. Just 4 silver arrows until we are done. 3 to go now. Looking to get a good timing for an interrupt here. That should be good for a triple. That'll do it. Get your GGs in chat. Teto is going to take first place in this race, and we will get your official time in just a moment. And that will be Teto coming across the line in first place with official time on racetime.gg of 1 hour and 43 minutes even. And Fred being on the GT climb here, he's through Gauntlet, now into Wizardubs 2. He's not terribly far off from finishing this out, so we will watch him continue, and he'll be through in probably just a few minutes himself. Yeah, the chat saying that it was really close at the Ice Trinex. Like, I think if Fred had pulled out his cape and utilized that, we would have had an extremely close race going up the climb. And while we're watching Fred still a couple minutes away from getting to the Ganon fight, we will say GG's to our first place finisher Teto, who is now in the booth with us here.
Yeah, hey, greetings and GG's. Oh,
GG's.
what for a sword placement in those seats? No way. I just saw in the restream that it's pretty close, entering GT nearly exactly the same time, I think.
Yes, you two are super close, seconds apart getting into GT. Like, also, and between your routing decisions in the basement, like, seconds apart dropping into Ice Trinix. It was just that close.
Yeah, Ice Trinix, we chatted a bit about that already, and yeah, it's such a fight. It went pretty okay at this point. It was like, yeah, this is not that bad. Just phase 2 right now. You can't die, right? And while just hitting and didn't care about avoiding the attacks, it was like, oh, you're down to 2 hearts. Use your cape or whatever. Don't die right now. This would be a huge time loss at this point. And I somehow survived that with 1 heart, so I was just getting my breath back after that fight, and I totally forget to check the GT big chest. Yeah.
Yeah, but thankfully there was a key on the climb. We were worried for you. It's like, oh no, his key counter's at 0. We really hope there's one on the climb for him.
Yeah, I had my microphone activated, so sorry for no sound on my end. But I was talking like, so yeah, the tile room's key is used for the connector door, so I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Oh, wait a second. And I was already entering the first floors on the gauntlet, and I was like, no, you're not going back for tile room. It's like 30-40 second loss to get back where you're currently right now, and those 40-50 seconds just for tile room. 1.5 minutes for the gamble, 4 items in the climb versus the big chest. So I just sticked with that, but my heart was pretty much exhausted opening the first 2 checks and not getting a small key.
Yeah, the fact that it was in pre-moldorm too, it literally held out. I'm just like, oh no, please.
So in the end, it was another race where like every little mistake or lucky play you do, that's the results of those are determine who is gonna win those races or not. It's always so close playing in the main tournament.
Oh yeah, and YouTube, this seed was a wild seed to watch. From YouTube had so much divergence until like converging at Swamp Palace. It took that long for you to line up again. And we'll get into that a little more after Fred's actually in here with us once he's done with his Ganon fight. But yeah, it was really great to watch just all the decisions being made all over the place.
It's like you see so many items. You know, the Samaria is behind Aga 1, and you want to get that item somehow later in the game. You want to have the sword, maybe route in Catfish after you spawn in the pyramid. So I was denying those checks for a whole time, and you don't get the sword. You can't enter Aga 1. You don't get a sword to enter Maya or something else. You don't have the sword for Thieves and for Skullwood's front. It was like, so, oh please don't.
Yeah. Tred is making quick work of this Ganon fight here. Didn't get any good like triple silver arrows, but he has got his 4th arrow now in, so we're gonna get him across the bridge in just a moment. We'll get his official time once he's there, and we'll get him in and have a little chat about this here seed, hopefully. And that's gonna be Fred across the line with an official time of 1:47:53, so just under 5 minutes apart for these two today. And we have Slapshotfred now in the comms room with us. GG's to you as well.
Thank you, GG Teto.
GG's, Fred.
You two had quite a race. Like from the very beginning, it was just Divergent City. Like because you two had several items that you found in just like significantly different times. Like coming up with the what was it, the mirror or the glove on Zoro was there was a bit of different time difference there, and then finding the mirror in King's Tomb, that was a big sticking point because like between the mirror and the pearl, you two had like very different kind of like slightly like leaving stuff behind, suboptimal plays in your early to mid game where you just had to do some cleanup later. Like there's definitely an optimal route here, but like you have to kind of, I don't know if you find it without playing spoiler on it, basically.
Yeah, but
What's
for those
concede?
Yeah, for those race decisions, you are playing the seed, and you're always like, "Oh, my opponent did this earlier and that better than me," and it's so much a mind game in those seeds. So you hope that your opponent isn't getting the god route in those ones, but yeah, it doesn't feel right playing crisscross without a lamp for a whole time. So
Yeah.
like, So like, oh yeah, I did every dark room except for Turtle Walk, and oh, there's the lamp in Swamp. Please be a crystal. Oh, there are swords. Oh, that's fine. And oh, so awkward.
Yeah, I think it was Teto. You had like an earlier mountain trip that worked out better because you were able to get like the bow and hammer in your first trip there. But then like I think Fred was earlier to the Pearl, so you had a better kind of later mountain, but it was overall better because you were able to work in with your I think with your Dark World stuff. It was just like I loved it. It was a great seed to watch for just the amount of divergence it had, and then it's just like all along we're thinking like, all right, when do we go get the Samaria? Like, when can we actually go get it? And it takes so long to come up with a second sword, and there's just two of them in Swamp. And we're like, all right, well now we can. We had it before then, of course, but like, it just took so long to even come up with like the cape. But it turns out you're supposed to go to 6 the whole time because you got flippers and cape there. So you two did that at almost the same time too. Like we were saying earlier, like whoever goes to 6 first in this seed, I think they get a significant advantage because flippers and cape gets you really going on this one. Because you get 2 swords, you get your Samari, you can get such an advantage. But you two, you were like less than a minute apart getting to those.
Good.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, so, oh, you are in go mode except for the sword, so you have 3 dungeons to go. I don't know whatever map is lying on Floating Island. This could be one of those remaining dungeons I had. So I was like, oh, this not collecting the map could cost me like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, going through Swamp or Turtle Walk, and it's the wrong decision. So I was torn between those 2 dungeons. And I don't know. It's feeling so weird playing the seed, where you sticking to every dungeon and hoping for the best and still getting something out of this. But you want to go mode. You want to look for the last sword in GT maybe. Just stumble over it and 2 swords in Pendant Swamp. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing Swamp because you're like, all right, let's just do Swamp because it's down here. It's got more items in it. It's a quicker clear. If TR is up there, we're gonna do it. So be it. And then like turns out, yeah, Swamp's the right play. Yeah, I don't know what you do if you go to TR first and you get through it, but then you're missing 1 sword. And I guess we didn't find one in GT unless there's like one in the big chest or post Moldorm. Like, where's the last sword? Who knows? Maybe Pyramid Fairy. Maybe there's a vanilla sword or on Ped.
I think we both go moded like Turtle Walk, more or less. I don't know. Maybe
you both just go mode TR. Yeah, that was yeah. And funny enough about TR, actually, you're talking about the maps. Fred took a little bit of insurance and checked the big chest to make kind of just safeguarding against the gamble, the 3%, and saw the Swamp map there. So that was actually one of those 2 maps that was left.
So yeah, it was still a gamble. Whatever map is on Floating Island. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe that was the TR map, but I'm not 100% sure.
In the end, those 2 swords. It was like with the first sword. Okay, that's all right. If I don't have to look for swords in TR, I just can go mode this. I'm going to save a little bit of time. I wasted maybe in Swamp Palace, and with the second sword, it was like, if Fred is with the intern not entering Swamp Palace, going for Turtle Walk, this could be huge. But we did the same
I was
thing.
hoping the same.
That's mental decisions, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you two really did put on a good show for us. There were some tricky boss situations, especially lacking some swords. Not perfect. There were some boss deaths around, but you two still did pretty well at it. And unfortunately, it was just an ice Trinex that kind of said, you know what, I'm going to decide this race for you. So that's just how boss shuffle goes sometimes.
Yep.
But yeah, so that puts us. I think we're about ready to wrap up here, unless you two have any final thoughts, or my co-commentator Thoris has any last questions.
No, just thank you for running. Thank you for taking part in the tournament. Thank you for allowing your match to be restreamed and putting on what was a rather interesting seat.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for the restream here on SpeedGaming. And Fred, GG's once again, and we will face again tomorrow, 2 hours earlier.
Yep. Tomorrow. Another fun scene like today will be perfect.
Yeah, 2 out of 2 fun seats in the tournament so far. Yeah, why not? That's why we are playing this game, right?
Yeah,
we are here
exactly.
we are here to have fun. That's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you as well to our tracker, Nervin Dolch, for keeping things accurate on screen for us. We appreciate you being here in the crew with us. And make sure you follow all the Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming, and then Speed Gaming 2 through 6, so you don't miss a moment of the rando action or groups phase. We're just about the halfway point, I think, chronologically. And then after that, we got 7 weeks of brackets. We're going to go down from 64 players all the way down to 1, and you don't want to miss a moment of it. Keep an eye on the schedule. You can go speedgaming.org/schedule or !schedule in chat to see what matches are coming up next. And
There's so many matches.
let me take one more shot and see if the command works here. If not, we'll just give you the channels here. There we are. Yeah, so we got the runners links in chat there. So give them a follow if you like what you see, because they're doing a good job fighting their way through groups to see if they can advance in the bracket stage. All right, chat. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. We will hope to see you back here for the next race. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.